as you all will have seen on the agenda, John and Darija are here from GRLI. Now, we're really lucky to have them with us. Their presence here today is part of what I think Jérôme and I and many of us have been pushing for these last couple of years, this desire to really occupy the space around sustainability and looking at all of these different forces that are impacting us within our schools, but personally on so many levels. There's just so much going on, and this remains such an important topic in business education because we do have such potential to move things forward and to help and have a positive impact. And so as a result, one of the things that Jérôme and I would like to do is just continue to give space also to other organizations that are working around these topics and doing fantastic things, which is really the case of GRLI. And it's an opportunity for us to endorse and support initiatives that are being taken elsewhere, but also to gain knowledge and support from others. So we invited these two to come and join us for about a half an hour to tell us a little bit about some of the initiatives and some of the things that we've been talking about. We've had a few meetings between us, etc. So I'll just stop there and let you two take over.
Thank you. And hello, everybody. And thank you for having us here today. It's a privilege to connect and actually reconnect with the Equal Network. The last time GRLI had a chance to meet with this group was actually in 2019, when my colleague John North took part in your meeting in Belgium. And I will briefly introduce myself. My name is Darija. I see already a few familiar faces, so a few of you already may know me. I'm based in Belgrade, Serbia. And in a short self-introduction, I would say, as a former co-president of Oikos International, a large student network, I've served on the board of GRLI for a couple of years alongside our strategic partners, EFMD and AACSB International. And for the last a year and a half, I would say, I've been playing a part-time role in GRLI, focused on connecting the business education landscape and the wider ecosystem more closely to create collective impact. Globally Responsible Leadership Initiative, or GRLI, is an action-oriented collaborative inquiry. GRLI, it's a mouthful, so to say, but the simplest way to think about it is of it as a question. So we hold a question, and the core question is simply, what is global responsibility? John and I are joining today to bring the same question to the Equal Network and to ask you to hold it with us and with others. And as I already said, as I look around, I see a few familiar faces and many friends and allies. So I will briefly hand it over to John to add a few words, set the scene for a few moments in order for us to open the space for co-creation to follow. John, over to you.
Great. Thanks, Darija. And thank you, everyone, for the opportunity also from my end. So John North here, usually based in South Africa, but find myself today in a grey London. Indeed, as Darija says, what does it mean to lead responsibly in an interconnected world? What does it take? How do we support the development of global responsibility? In fact, what is global responsibility? And we've often said in the GRLI that the questions that we hold ultimately shape the way in which we learn and facilitate learning, the way we live and make a living, and of course, how ultimately we lead and for what purpose. So we're not here to promote the GRLI itself. We are here to bring some of those questions to Equal and to explore how we can jointly create collective impact in these very interesting times that we live. Maybe just a few remarks, and Darija, I'm sure, will add to this before we open it for discussion. But it is, I think, important to reflect on the significance of the times that we find ourselves in globally. And we believe that it demands a quite fundamental shift in how we perceive and practice our responsibilities as planetary citizens, but over here as educators and as leaders of networks in higher education. I would almost, to Julie's point, dare to say that this goes beyond sustainability as usual. We're in a world where 8 billion of us are pressing against and now transgressing 6 of the 9 planetary boundaries, which are perceived as being critical to maintaining stability and resilience on Earth and the Earth system as a whole. Not only do we have these environmental challenges, but geopolitical conflicts are escalating. Unfortunately, it appears that some of the global governance systems are fragmenting or failing. Social inequality and discontent is on the rise. And all of us are faced with this confluence of challenges or crises. So we need to acknowledge and really face the reality that the underlying systems that have created this situation in the world is unfortunately still benefiting from what we're doing. So in a way, we can call out what's happening around the world, but we also have to acknowledge the role that as educators, and especially in the business education space, those interfacing with business, what role we have to play in either perpetuating or transforming the systems. So calls for intervention and alignment at a system-wide level, we always say beyond the ego, beyond the logo, beyond the borders, aren't new, but the collective impact that I think many of us have envisaged and that we know is urgently needed is not yet realized. It hasn't materialized yet. So there is that dominant competitive logic that seems to starve collective efforts and resources at a time when they are more needed than ever. Yeah, I'll maybe just pause there for a moment and say that it seems like it's really important for us now more than ever to galvanize and align our efforts. And I'm going to ask Darija just to say something about innovation and systemic transformation. And then we'll share one of the emergent initiatives and then open it for discussion. Darija.
Thanks, John. It's a very interesting question. And I do believe in order to enact such systemic transformation, our ability to innovate is essential. And especially in a technological era, the world has overemphasized progress and innovation that is technologically coupled. And in the same process has neglected our ability to innovate at a relational level. And what does that mean? At a relational level through healthy relationships to our own individual humanity, so I, to others in meaningful relationship, the we, and a healthy relationship to the planet in a regenerative way, all of us. So how do all of us ensure the development and emergence of such relational innovation and deep collaboration? It could be a key question to systemic transformation we are trying to start. And important to highlight is that this inquiry does not belong to GRLI alone. Our role is not to own this inquiry at all. We stay purposefully small to act as a catalytic initiative rather than an institution. And this is why we regard EQUAL as a critical and important platform for reach and activation on this topic. If there is one thing we've learned, it is that global responsibility is not a static concept. It is a living, breathing process of discovery. And when we reconnected with Julie and Jerome last year, it was as a result of an emergent process, an initiative called Be the Tipping Point, which provides a flavor of potential we see in systemic transformation and through business education. So John, if you would be so kind to share a video that we recorded on Be the Tipping Point as we imagine Equal being a key role player in such an initiative.
It's a 60-second video, not a 60-minute video.
Sorry, did I say 60 minutes?
So please don't stress. So hopefully you can all hear this. I'll just quickly, and it's got subscripts as well, but it introduces one of the initiatives.
The world is facing a critical challenge.
Without change, current business models will continue to destroy the nature environment and deepen social inequality.
Business education needs to equip leaders who are able to address these global crises.
Our solution?
Transform business education from the ground up.
We're recruiting change makers in 100 recognized business schools,
each supporting change makers in 2 other schools,
and each committed to recruiting
Change makers in 2 other schools.
A global movement in business education dedicated to environmental and social justice.
So what's unique? We are not just changing course content. We are charting a new course.
We are not waiting for change. We are delivering change here and now.
This isn't a one-size-fits-all approach.
Every school will innovate in its own way and share what works across a global hub of knowledge and resources.
Success means a new generation of leaders
who prioritize planet and people.
Who measure success not by profit alone,
but by the positive impact they create.
We'll know we've succeeded when more than 800 business schools worldwide are actively transforming business practices.
And when business itself becomes a force for global good.
This is our chance to tip the balance towards a just and sustainable future.
The time to act is now.
The time to act is now.
Pay it forward.
John, back to you.
So just to conclude on that, and be the tipping point, as Daria pointed out, is an initiative that is, I think, quite typical of how the GRLI is trying to connect the wider landscape for collective impact. I believe we have an extraordinary opportunity to influence the way leadership and businesses practice in the world. In fact, we have to do that. And so the question, as we said, that we'd like to bring here is what it might look like if Equal placed an inquiry into developing global responsibility, which transcends the me and the we, to include the all of us at the center of its purpose. How might Equal members, and in turn your members, act as a global and connected positive tipping point in and through business education? We don't necessarily claim to have the solution to that, but we have learned that holding that question and working with it is what brings us, is what activates this kind of global responsibility gene, as we've cheekily called it at one point. So I'm going to pause there, unless there's something, Daria, that you wanted to add, because we'd love to just get a sense from our friends and colleagues in the room, especially those also that we haven't had a chance of meeting or working with yet, of how this call lands for you, and whether there are any ideas, intentions, emergent initiatives that you see that may be relevant to working in this way. I'm going to pause there. Thanks, Julie. Thanks, Jerome.
Just a really quick thank you to both of you for that. And I think that's a great question. And the group is going to hear Jerome and I on that question in a little while. So I'd really like to encourage some spontaneous reactions within the group. What does that bring up for you? What do you think, and how do you feel that fits with what the work we're trying to do and the role that we need to have?
Hi, everyone. I step in again, if that's all right. I hope you don't mind. Yeah, again, I'm showing my age, actually, but I was at the foundations of the GRLI in Bangkok many moons ago. And it came out of an EF&D board meeting and the Global Responsibility Day, and it actually is a fantastic manifesto, John, that perhaps you can share with the Equal group, that makes as much sense, more sense probably today than it did then. And I have the pleasure of talking to John most Monday mornings about life, about cycling, about rugby, and about GRLI. So I'm fully supportive. It's terrifying that the discussions today around the world are how can we spend 3% of our GDP on defense? How have we got to this? It really is quite scary, and I'm not sure you want to hide under your duvet and not come out. But really, the world is not in great shape, and we as educators have a massive role to play in that. And I was involved with a tipping point with John. I think having a collective voice for us, and I think Equal, this is a good place for us, because Equal, as we all know, is searching for perhaps its purpose, not purpose because we've got one, but where are we going to go with this? And I do think, and I fully support John and the group working together. Yeah, I know they do some outstanding things. They've kept it small, agile, and lean, as John will attest to, and Darija does a super job. So very supportive, and I think if we can shape moving forward with the Equal group around this, around the shared expertise that we all bring, but also this connecting people and the catalyst role, it makes a great deal of sense. So all good from my side. And as I say, I have the pleasure of working with John a lot, and I think the work they do is outstanding. Very positive from my side.
Thanks, Matthew. I fully agree with you. Somebody else? Any questions? Eileen, I see you just took your microphone off.
I did, yeah. Spotted. No, John, you and I haven't met yet. We've been trying to and have corresponded over many emails, but I just can't offer enough support with this. The tough time in the States really just speaks to the need for solidarity and support from organizations like EQUAL and GRLI, and the voice and the manifesto that they have is, we wouldn't be able to continue without this. It's a tough time at the moment, tough time for business schools, but also for accreditation bodies. But it's organizations like this, like EQUAL, that will allow us to build back and be stronger, and to have the support and solidarity of our colleagues and membership around the world. So thank you. And John, thank you for the work that you and Darija are doing. It's awesome.
I don't know the level of awareness that all the membership has with what GRLI is doing and these initiatives and so forth. And can we share your contact details with the group in case there are some of the membership groups that want to reach out to you and perhaps look at your, there we go, thank you. Look at learning more, getting engaged. I think that these initiatives like what GRLI is doing really do give us some opportunities as schools, or getting people within our schools engaged. And I think that I can't say it better than Eileen has. It's really, right now we need organizations like ours to pull together and almost act as a counterforce to what's going on, and to keep running on a values-based leadership model and stick to these values and support each other. And I do think that GRLI gives us obviously some means, some real ways to do that. And I think the tipping point is, among others, it's a great initiative. It's a great video too, actually.
If I may, Julie, if I may just briefly come in here, and thank you very much also to Eileen and Matthew for adding your words of support. And of course, anybody here is more than welcome to contact myself and Darija, but I do want to stress the following. The GRLI is a bit of a counterintuitive entity, and as I think Darija also said in her opening remarks, we're not here to promote the GRLI. Our sincere hope is, and it's even in our strategic direction, is that by 2030, the GRLI is no longer needed, okay? And I know this may sound a bit counterintuitive, and possibly we won't be able to do that because our work might not be done given the current trajectory of where things are going. But the ideal way forward might be something that sees the likes of Equal and its members co-owning the agenda and the ways of working that the GRLI is trying to catalyze and support. So by all means, do contact us and let's meet for more in-depth conversations and for finding ways to connect the dots. But we do really want to emphasize that our call to action, which the GRLI has held now for 2 decades with strong support from EFMD, AACSP, over the years, Global Compact, connecting with various others, is not ours. It's really for all of us. So I just want to emphasize that. And one of the things, maybe just to add to that, we are starting to see, to the point of kind of solidarity, which is one of our key values, by the way. We're seeing that to build resilience in the wider business and management education ecosystem globally, we're going to have to rely on the national and regional and other kind of collectives to maintain and connect the dots. So that's what we're very much interested in doing as well.
So thank you so much, Darija and John. We really appreciate your input to our group, and we are delighted to, in fact, to work on the same journey of connecting people and being catalyst around such kind of vital perspective.
Thank you very much, Jerome. Thank you, Julie. And I just want to add my thanks to one other person who's played a key role, has been silent here, but Lana at ABS took the courageous step last year to host a conversation at their annual conference. They gave us a platform to start having conversations about connecting the ecosystem. And Lana will know that the tipping point momentum was something which ABS helped us establish. So I just want to say thank you to her as well, not that I'm seeing on the screen. Thanks.
Super. And I think today is the first conversation, and we'll be in touch, because I do think that there are ways that we can move this all forward together. And as we explore our own projects and so forth, I think we'll be coming back around to you all. I think there are things we need to do together.